Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut.
Yeah, you made that up on your own just now.
I didn't. It is the song of the United
On your
States
own.
of the states in the United States
On
in
your own.
alphabetical order.
Yeah, why can't you just learn them like by alphabetical order, like Alabama, Alaska, and just
Because
go
I'm an
down?
artist, and that's how we learn.
Grow them on.
Already, you just did that. You know that reminds me of.
Eartha Kitt.
Yes, but you know it from what movie?
The Eartha Kitt movie.
Oh no, Boomerang. Marca.
Oh yes, she was in Boomerang.
She was.
I still forgot.
Oh, now I'm sad.
Don't be sad. Like I remember, I don't remember movies like you. Like you can go to a
No, I'm
movie.
not sad at you. I got nostalgia for the movie, but then I'm afraid if I go back and watch it, it'll be trash because
Oh, it'll be
that's
trash.
what happened.
It'll be trash. So I'm actually surprised that you don't remember the movie like you remember most of your movies.
Well,
Where
honestly, because I watched Boomerang when I was probably too young to watch Boomerang.
you mean
Um,
when you were singing Whitney Houston songs?
I'm singing Whitney Houston songs at 10 years old.
Yeah.
Talking about All the Man That I Need. I think I was watching Boomerang right around that time.
Nasty.
And for the record, we had great parents. They didn't know.
Oh, they know now. Well, at least one
They
of
know
them.
now,
They
right?
know now.
One of them knows. No. I remember. See, and this is how your memory works. The what I associate with that movie is Tony Braxton's soundtrack.
Oh
Love
yeah.
should have brought you that song.
Yeah.
You home last
Last
night, right?
night.
Which makes me remember that there was this huge scene where I think Eddie Murphy's character cheats on Halle Berry's character.
Yeah, something like that.
But then she likes forgive him or something when he like shows up at her job or something like that. And he's like, I can't breathe without you. And she's like, oh yeah. And, then when you're like, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years old, you're just like, oh my gosh, the most romantic thing ever. But like now when you're like 40, you're just like, this is so toxic.
You should be saying that when you're 40 and 30 and 20.
Yes, that was such a and then it just made me think about all of the toxic things that we let slide until we go back and watch them. Like, have you been on Netflix?
Okay, first of all, I'm assuming that's a rhetorical question. I live on Netflix in my spare time. Let me tell you, if I could figure out how to watch Netflix while I'm driving safely, superimpose it into the windshield,
Let's
but to
not
stop playing if I need to.
encourage people to watch Netflix when they're
No,
driving. Okay.
no, definitely don't watch it while you're driving.
No. So you watch Netflix, and on
Don't watch
Netflix is doing this thing where they're like putting all of the 90s stuff like back on. Like I think Moesha is on there, Girlfriends is on there.
I like Girlfriends.
And but like have you watched it again?
Girlfriends?
Yes.
No. I said I liked in past tense. I didn't.
You liked it. You didn't watch it again though, like recently as an adult, mature human being that thinks like a rational person.
Well, on Tuesdays. No, I didn't. I didn't even know it was on, but it's one of those shows for me. It's one of those shows that I enjoyed it. That's it.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to revisit it. I remember the characters.
No, you revisit it and you realize again they're like this, like the whole dynamic of friendship between like Joan and like everybody else and Tony and whatever the other names were. I can't think of it right now. They had a terrible friendship. The dynamics of their friendship was terrible. Joan was a terrible friend, manipulative, and she would like make everything about her. Like nobody could ever make it about them. It was always about her. Like I think at somebody's wedding, she made it about her. Like but you go back and watch these shows.
Breathe. Because this seems to really. Did you just recently watch it?
No, I didn't. That's the thing. Like you think back. Okay, so let's talk about it. Everybody who follows me on social media knows the movie that I absolutely loathe.
Oh,
Like if you sat me down, you were just like, you have to watch this movie. We would get into a physical altercation. That's a quiz for you. What movie is that? We're
which?
sisters.
Yeah. So
Which
the one. Which one? Yeah.
there's
So
like one big one, and then everything else kind of falls
well,
underneath.
so there are movies that you dislike, but I think it's more because of just the structure and the creativity and maybe the directorship, producership, all of that stuff that you all, whatever jargon you use about the movie, how it was produced. I think though that you don't like this movie because you don't think other people, specifically women, should like this movie.
They shouldn't like it. They
Love
should.
and the basketball.
But it wasn't until I went back and watched it as I was older, because I got caught up. You feel me? I
That
got
was a
caught
good
up in
movie.
it.
That was a good movie.
It's not a good movie.
It's a
It's
good
not a
movie.
good movie. Let's recap. Okay?
Okay.
Okay? The
Okay.
little baby, we meet them when they was little babies. Okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing the boy does, I think his name is Quincy or something,
Omar.
is it is Omar Epps. We'll just say Omar Epps' character. First thing he does, he insults the baby girl, right? Which
Wait,
we're all
what?
about
What was
empowering our baby girls. He says to her, "Girls can't play basketball." Like he says that to her, right? Like he don't want to give her a chance. She gets on the little team that they're playing, a little pickup basketball game.
it?
She
Okay.
gets on the team, and as he's losing, what does he do, class? He throws her to the ground. He pushes her to the ground. Now tell me, if you was somebody, you somebody's auntie, right? You my
I'm,
baby's auntie.
I'm so,
Okay?
yeah,
You got
I'm 80s.
you got aunties. You got 6 nieces and nephews.
I do.
Yes. Okay. If your baby girls came to you, you got what, 3 of them. You got 3 nieces, right? If
Half
any
and
of them
half.
came to you and was just like, Auntie Gina, I was playing basketball with this little boy. He shoved me down to the ground to the point where I had to get stitches right here. What would you be like? Oh, I hope one day y'all end up together when you're playing for his heart. You wouldn't.
I would not. I would first ask to say, I would ask and say, which hospital did the ambulance take him to when you were done? I would first say that. Not that I am inciting violence.
But
But I
listen,
don't think.
here's what's
But wait, wait,
crazy.
wait, wait. But you're expecting this. What was he? How old were they in that clip? Like 10, 12, 8?
He was too old to be pushing little girls down, because that wasn't the first time he pushed her down. Because what happened was is that when he finally decided he was going to like her, they're like 10 years old. They're walking their bikes to school, and he was just like, well, now that you're my girlfriend, you got to ride on the back of my bike. And she was like, you ain't got to tell me what to do. And he pushed her to the ground.
So this is a typical interaction with little 10, 12-year-olds and 10, 12-year-olds.
It is not typical like that. And
It is
that
not
right
typical.
there
It
should
is
have
not
been
typical.
the end of the movie. Like, we rooted for these kids. Like, what is our problem? I'm telling you, man, you can't go back and watch some of this old stuff. It'll ruin your life.
But I think when you go back, I don't think you need to think like, a 30, 40 plus person. This is y'all's fault. Y'all being
Right.
all creative. No, it's your fault. It's your fault because you had to make it entertaining. You had to say, okay, we got adolescence. Number one, this is when boys are trying to say, I like the girl, so that they cut off their ponytail or do something irrational because they don't know how. They don't know how. And number two, I mean, when did that movie come out? In the 90s?
It was a 90s movie. But here's the thing. No.
Wait. Women are still fighting over equal right and equal pay. Of course, he's gonna be like, "You're a girl. You play basketball. You don't wash dishes."
No. It gets worse though. Like if the movie ended there, it'd be like, oh, okay, they shouldn't show that because no. There is the whole time Quincy Omar Epps' character there is nothing redeemable about his character. Like, he's selfish. He chooses her second every time. He ruined his wedding 2 weeks before. Like, what? Tyra Banks didn't do nothing to nobody. That's the chick he was supposed to marry. We didn't even get any closure. Like, how do you break up with somebody 2 weeks before y'all supposed to get married? You know, like venues are booked at that point, right? But what do? Everybody thinks they want to be the Sanaa Lathan of that movie. No, you the Tyra Banks of that movie, homie. Like that's what it is.
So it's interesting you said that. I don't think I ever watched that movie and said, "Oh, I want to be Sanaa Lathan." I never looked at that movie. I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was a boy meets girl. Boy doesn't
Boy is
like
trash.
girl because boy doesn't like girl because girl is better than boy. Boy
Which makes boy
really does
trash.
like girl. They grow up together. They grow apart. They get back together because they realize that they always had feelings for each other, albeit dysfunctional.
It's
They had
the whole
feelings
thing.
for
But no, here's the thing. But you recognize it. So to me, good entertainment is entertainment that ages well. Like you go back and look at stuff like Girlfriends or like Moesha, and you realize Moesha's character was a whole brat.
But brats are
terrible child.
entertaining. Brats are
She
entertaining.
is a terrible child, but like we were rooting for Moesha when we were her age, and
Yeah.
now it's just like, oh my god, she's terrible. Like now that you're parent, like now that my friends are parents and they're going back and they're watching Moesha, they're just like, she is garbage. Like she's a garbage person. She's a garbage person.
That movie though, it was something that you brought up on that movie that that I remember because I have looked at it a couple of times. I've looked at it a couple of times. So one of the things that I remembered about that movie is that Sanaa Lathan, what was her character's name?
I don't remember.
We're gonna call her Girl. So Girl Latham.
We're so terrible.
Lathan, whatever. I can't remember. I remember she went off on her mom in the kitchen after she got back.
She did.
Away when she got back from playing international basketball, and basically was telling her mother that she was just a footstool. She was just ironing her husband's drawers. She didn't take up for herself. Of course, she got a whole handful of slap from her mother.
She did. Her mother slapped her in the kitchen. Yes.
But what I thought was interesting is that, and this is something that you see all the time, people try so hard not to be who brought them up, their parent or whomever. They try so hard they don't recognize that they have turned into that person. So
because she was that person.
She was that person. So she was just like, Mom, you don't take up for yourself. Mom, you let people beat up. Think about that whole movie. Omar treated her like trash. The basketball team people treated her like trash. Did you ever see her wall off and hit folks? No. She was a punching bag.
Oh my gosh.
Now that made the movie trash.
That movie's trash. What? But when do we recognize this? We recognize this at the ages we are now. Not then. Then we were just like, you better tell your mama off, girl. Not even realize she her whole mama in the whole movie.
She was her whole mama 2 decades younger.
And he turned into his daddy for some kind of time.
How about that? How about, except he didn't go into the NBA for a long period of time, but he did all the cheating and everything else.
He did all the cheating, all the trash. That movie is so garbage. I remember when I rewatched it older, like in a healthy relationship, and I was just like, who thinks this is a good idea? Like nostalgia is dangerous. Like how things really are when you go back and visit them and realize you're just like, oh no. Yeah. No, this is higher learning.
I remember one thing about that movie.
Tyra Banks. Why is she in both of these? She gets the bad end of the deal in both of these.
Wait.
Because of Omar Epps.
So wasn't that the movie where she died and she was just like, what? Like this. That was such a that stands out more in that movie because I'm just like, you just got shot. You have significant amount of bleeding. I'm assuming you're about to go into you're in hypovolemic shock as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
You have enough energy and oxygen in your lungs to scream out.
Yes.
Like, how inaccurate can that be?
That's Dr. Gina looking at the movie now. I bet you when you saw the movie back in the day, you were just like, oh no, she
No,
what's
I
her
thought
name?
that was a
Deja?
terrible.
Deja died.
I thought that was a terrible death scene. Then
Yes.
it was
Wait, like terrible in like a good way or terrible in like a that's not accurate?
terrible, and like it was completely unrealistic. You can't lose half your blood and be like, like who does that? Who does that? Who does that? She sang louder than she yelled louder than any praise team leader I ever heard. All her blood was on the ground.
She does.
It made no sense
And
to
then
me.
she died instantly. Is
I mean, I guess it depends on exactly where you shot, but I mean,
I mean, but the way they depicted it was like right here, like it
that
was
was the
like
other, that was the other thing. Well, I didn't know if it was truly a fatal shot. I thought it went through the aorta the way she was bleeding out. I mean, I don't know. I didn't know what was going on with that. It was just, I'm gonna have to go back and watch that movie again. You had an issue with higher learning too?
I did, yes. Number one, I felt like higher learning when I went back and looked at it was trying too hard to be a Spike Lee movie. Like
Oh,
I felt like John Singleton um was going for that School Days effect, but
mm-hmm.
with racial tensions. So like he took Do the Right Thing and he took School Days and he kind of made it one movie, you know? We love John Singleton, right? Because he gave us Boys in the Hood, right?
He goes a
And
lot of
and
movies. Mhm.
he gave us a lot of movies. But that one, it just was kind of weird to me because there were these shots, and then Lawrence Fishburne was in it. Like there was just a lot happening. But again, that's me going back and looking at higher learning because our higher learning, all these movies we're talking about came out during this time of like there was like this decade-ish of movies that were like hitting it like every, if I had seen it then, I probably would have been like, oh, this is the most amazing movie of all time.
It's interesting you said that movie was like School Days, but with racial tension. But School Days had racial tension.
It did, but with it had colorism. Like we dealt with colorism in school,
Okay, let's say colorism.
right? That which is that which I in a very unique way. Now here's what's funny. Nostalgia with School Days, like I go back to School Days, that's a legit movie. Like before, when I saw it originally.
School Days, I judge me all day. I thought School Day was trash. I like the concept. Let me tell you, I get it. I get it as one of those movies like Coming to America and The Breakfast Club. Like I get it. But it was trash. It's not a movie that I need to watch over and over again. I think I saw it twice. The second time by accident or under duress. The movie itself, like the concept of the schools and the sororities and the fraternities and the college scene, yes, doing the butt, yeah, but I don't have to watch that movie ever again. It was a lot of singing. No, it was not.
You didn't like the singing. You gave it away. So I think what happened with School Days is that a lot of people didn't know that they were walking into a quasi musical.
Yeah.
like
just talk it out. The only thing I like, I mean, okay, sorry.
I'm a theater person.
I know.
It out. Like, come on. If a song can be sung, a song needs to be sung. That being said, I can see how School Days, the movie, kind of takes you out of the moment when you're, the girls in the dorm are about to get into a fight. It's just like, talk about getting about half.
Yeah, I was like.
Yes.
No, and the vibrato and all of that. I was just like, no, stop it. People don't walk around and just break into a song unless they're in theater. And everybody on a college campus is not a theater.
Everyone should be.
Over. Close the screen.
Well, but you know what aged like fine wine?
Seinfeld.
Boo. No. No. Like there are episodes of Seinfeld they can't even show on TV anymore.
Yeah.
Like no. There are several. There are a couple of sitcoms that age like fine wine.
All right.
I'm gonna name them, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, yeah, okay." First one, Living Single.
Well, if you say Living Single, I'm assuming the next one is going to be
A Different
Golden
World.
Girls. What?
No, well,
There's
Golden Girls. Golden Girls by itself, it belongs in a tier of fantasticness.
It does.
Like,
I love.
Thank You for Being a Friend. Travel Down the Road and Back Again. Your heart is true. Like Golden Girls is a tier all by. Golden Girls is a glass case on display in the theater or the museum of perfectionism. And Living Single, A Different World, huh?
If you threw a party and then invited everyone you knew, okay,
everyone you knew.
I love that song.
With all those shows, you had A Different World, Golden Girls, Living Single.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're gonna have to name one.
Mm-hmm.
The Cosby Show. The triggering that you may have of a certain character that you see on screen, and not even the character, but the person that played them.
Yeah.
But the content that they presented.
The content was good. The content crossed all type of demographics, ethnic groups, the whole nine. They had some outside controversy.
They had some outside controversy, but when you look back on it, all these shows like Golden Girls, they dealt with race, they dealt with discrimination, they dealt with women and in the work, like they dealt with all of that. They dealt with like LBGT, I can't say LGBTQ, right?
You go ahead and edit that out because you said it wrong.
I mean, and my heart was in the right place, but they dealt with all of that. A Different World. They dealt with race, and they dealt with colorism, and they dealt with all of that. The Cosby Show. That one episode where Claire went to that talk show at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and those white men are trying to talk over her, but she knows more than them. Like, what? So then I'm like confused because I'm just like, why did those age well? But then a couple of like years later, like the 90s stuff aged wonderfully.
I think we're biased. I'm going to stop right here. I'm going to say, I think we're biased. I think we're biased.
Are we?
Because, yeah, I think so. Because we grew up in that time period. So that was like our barometer. That's our baseline. So if it doesn't look like that, then we're just like, this was, when was this created? 2011?
80s and 90s. Because like the Golden Girl, Different World, Cosby Show was all that started in the 80s and bled into the 90s, right? Fresh Prince of Bel-Air aged well. We look back and we start realizing that maybe we've changed. Maybe you brought up a good point. Maybe it's us that's changed. Maybe we look back on.
Hindsight is 2020. Hindsight is 2019 for
How
most
about
people. And then we look at this and like think about it. It's interesting. I noticed that Thundercats is on Hulu or Netflix.
Yes, it is. It's on Hulu. Yes.
Yes, my husband turned it on, and I heard the thunder, cats, and then we watched the first episode. And I was just like, why did I like this show? Like the graphics are terrible.
Oh man, nice 80s cartoons. First of all, let's just be honest. You were forced to watch Thundercats because I would watch Thundercats. Like that's where our age difference shows up.
Well, and
back when we were growing up,
I didn't think that Thundercats was appropriate because of that whole
mum ra.
Like, what is going on with this devilment? I don't think two girls should be watching this. Like, give them a chance to figure out. I don't know how old you were. As far as I was concerned, I was like, this right here is just not appropriate.
No, but you know what? That brings up an excellent point. We're talking about all these old movies and stuff. You were the reason why I wasn't allowed to watch Boys in the Hood until I was like 16 years old. You came home from college. I can't remember what year Boys in the Hood came out, but you came home from college after seeing it, and I heard our parents say, like, Gina, is it something your sister can see? And you were like, no.
And Jason, I think they asked about Jason's lyrics. I was just like, she still can't watch it. She got 4 kids. No.
I was so mad about Boys in the Hood. And so I had built up Boys in the Hood in my mind on such a high pedestal because I was just like, this movie has got to be the movies of all movies, because everybody I knew talked about it. I had never seen it. I finally watched it. I think I was actually 17. I was a senior in high school when I finally like caught it on like a movie channel. And after it was over, I was just like, oh, I think it was built up bigger in my head. Now, when I went back and watched it again, I could like appreciate how the movie and its context and the whole 9 yards. But I remember when I first saw it, only because it was just like, I was like, this movie has got to be epic if I'm not allowed to watch it because Gina said.
I recognize as an artist, you needed to see good quality thing. I wasn't keeping it from you because it was epic. It was rated R.
It was.
You didn't even watch that foolishness and mayhem. You were the same age as your oldest daughter is right now. Now you understand why I was just like, she's not watching that.
See?
Not this year. Thing. Hey, I'm just telling you.
You just proved my point. So we were let's date us. You ready to date us?
No, not on.
I remember the premiere of MTV, right? We had just gotten cable in the house for the first time. MTV premiered like the same week.
That little box where you had to go.
Right, that was it. You had the cable box and you had to like type up, the thing. You had a remote, but you had to like go and type the numbers in. And I remember we were watching MTV and the Kiss video came on. That it wasn't the same year that MTV premiered, but it wasn't too long after Prince put that video out. And I mean, Prince was Prince, right? Like Prince
was always Prince.
Prince don't have to be beautiful, right? Mm-hmm. And he was killing it in the guitar, whatever. Then they got to one point in the video where it was just like, kiss, and he turned to kiss the girl in the video, and you were just like, nope, click.
Wait a minute, I remember. Did I do that for you?
This is not a joke. I was an adult before I saw the end of that video.
Oh, Danita, I am so sorry. I did that for real.
I never saw the end of that video my entire childhood. Every time it came on, you would always turn the channel at the exact same time because you did not want your baby sister watching Prince. French kiss some girl. It might have been Apollonia. I don't know who was in that video. I legit.
You were like 4. Let me tell you something. We better look up this here. You were like 3 and a half.
I was not 3. MTV premiered in like.
Don't be making up stuff.
No, it's like 86. So that video was like 86, 87. I was 7-ish.
It came out at 86.
I was 6.
Too young to be watching some Prince.
But then I look now when you in that context, I get it. I remember looking back and finally watching the whole video. I was like, this wasn't that bad. Like it wasn't that bad.
When you watched it, you were at the appropriate age.
I mean, I saw Thriller when I was 4. Like that was.
You saw what?
That busted me up a little bit. I was 4 when I saw Thriller. No, I was 3 when I saw Thriller.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that. We were at somebody's house though, so I didn't have.
No, we were at the mall. We were at the
mall. Yeah, I didn't have.
We were at the mall. But that's a different story because I think according the story goes that I had been bragging that the next day was my birthday and I was going to be the same age as you. I was going to be 4 years old.
Yeah.
And I was convinced that meant that we were going to be the same age.
I don't know how you did that math.
And I was 4.
I remember.
4-year-old math. And I kept telling Mama I'm gonna be as old as Gina, this, that, and the other. And so we were walking in the mall, and I think you went to the display case that had all the TVs. It was back in the day when all the TVs were like stacked on top of each other. Mm-hmm. And you were about to watch Thriller because for whatever reason it was playing in the mall. And then I was like, I want to see Gina, what Gina's watching. Mom was like, no, you don't need to watch that because you're too young for that. I'm just like, I'm grown. She was like, all right, grown, go watch it.
She probably went home, put that stopwatch on, and was just like, and the nightmares will begin. And 10, 9.
Listen, I am 40 years old. and I still have a hard time getting through. Listen, that
Yeah,
video is epic though, man. But it still bring
epic.
about a response a little bit. Like right in here, I get a little feeling in my
You
chest.
still have PTSD over that video?
I do have a little PTSD.
I get it. I have PTSD still over ET, but I'm getting over. That was like a horror flick to me.
Like for real. When was the last time you actually watched it?
Last year?
Oh, you.
ET was a horror flick, and I didn't watch the whole thing. I was just like, this is disturbing. Look at ET walking around your house right now. Open your door, and ET walking in your room. You tell me you're gonna be okay with that?
I might be a little disturbed. As a rational adult, you can't go back and look at stuff because it'll ruin it.
One of my favorite movies was no, I have two movies. One was Love Jones. Yeah. So when I watched it 10 years later, I realized it was trash.
Oh, that movie. Well, and let me say this. The movie itself, like Love Jones, but the characters and their behaviors in that joint, garbage. Not toxic at all.
That movie was toxic. And the comedian, whose name I can't think of right now, he was the most toxic of that entire movie. But you know what? There's another movie though that was one of my favorite, and it ages really well, and that was The Game.
Yes.
I watched it again this year, and I was just like, this movie's still good.
That movie slaps. That movie still, yes.
Still good.
Yes. That movie still. However, I feel like it was more believable then because of the absence of technology would not make it a good movie now. Like, you're definitely going to get sued. Hashtag spoiler alert. Y'all, listen, y'all. If y'all have not seen the movie The Game,
go watch The Game.
Go watch that movie.
Oh my goodness.
And just know that in real life, if this happened in 20 of 20s, first of all, if it happened in 2020, people would be like, wait, it's a game? Like, they would probably celebrate. But like 2019, 2018, you be in court. You be in legit court. So there are some movies that you can go back and look at, and you just have to think, oh, I have to look at it in the time that I'm in.
Right. So that you can still enjoy it.
Or the time that it was in. Yeah.
Right. So you can still enjoy it.
We're gonna have to protect you from the interwebs, man. You don't speak against school days, man. That's
I don't speak against school days on like social media, just when I'm talking to you. I wouldn't tell anybody else.
It's about that time.
Yeah, I don't even know where my water is. I think it's still in the refrigerator.
What is our seed of substance? Sucks.
What? No.
That's the seed of substance. Nostalgia sucks.
No.
Rock.
The seed of substance.
You can't go home again.
No. The seed of substance, because it has to be something that we can plant, and it has to be of substance, Danita.
What's the seed of substance?
Wait, give me a minute. Anything worth writing is worth rewriting.
That's terrible. No. I don't want to give people a license to remake stuff. Leave it in the past.
No, some stuff needs to be remade because it was trash the first time. So let me see. The seed of substance is recognize your growth. So
I like that.
So yeah.
I like
When you watch
that.
those movies that you used to love, hear those songs that you used to love, watch those sitcoms you used to love, and now you're just like, that's not for me. Recognize your
You've
growth.
grown,
You have
sis,
grown.
bruh. You've grown. Come
Yay!
now. I like that. That's good, girl.
Gracias. Gracias.
Get in the water. Call it a day.
Call it a day, girl. Talk to you later.
Bye, girl.
Bye, girl.
A mean joke by a mean jerk who thought it would be hilarious to see your life flash before your eyes.